Okay, so now we are going to discuss the integers. And on a number line, the integers are the counting numbers 1, 2, 3, on in that direction. The number 0, and the opposites of the counting numbers, -1, -2, -3, and further in that direction. All right. The larger numbers are to the right, and the smaller numbers are to the left. So any number on the left of another is smaller than that number, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at problems such as this. Insert either the greater than symbol or the less than symbol between the pair of numbers to make a true statement. Okay, so let's start off with this set of numbers here. The first set of numbers, let's look at -3 and -2. Now the symbol, either less than or greater than that you want to put, should make a true statement. So looking at the number line, -3 is to the left of -2, making it the smaller number. So -3 is the smaller number. This thing always points at the smaller number. So this reads -3 is less than -2. All right, let's try a different pair of numbers. Part B, -5 and 8. All right. So for the numbers -5 and 8, well, on a number line, -5 would be on the left of 0, 8 would be on the right of 0. That's true for any negative and positive number. So it doesn't matter what the actual numbers are. If one is negative and the other one is positive, the negative one is always less than the positive one. So the symbol there would also be less than. And let's see. Let's try the last problem here. Part C, -3 and 0. All right, for this particular problem, well, let's see. 0 is the line that divides the negatives from the positives. So 0 is smaller than any positive number, but bigger than any negative number. So in this case, the symbol is also less than. Actually, let's try one more. Part D. Let's try -2 and -9. All right, for that pair of numbers, let's see. Well, -2 is here on the number line, and we'd have to keep counting towards the left to get to -9. -9 would be further to the left than -2. So -9 is actually the smaller number. So the number sentence would read -2 is greater than -9. So that's one thing you're going to be asked to do. You're going to be asked to make the determination of which number is larger and smaller, which number is smaller. All right, the other thing we're going to be doing with integers is we're going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing them, basically applying all the operations to them. So we need the rules for addition and subtraction of integers, and also a rule for multiplication and division. And remember, we're dealing with the set of numbers called the integers. So they're the numbers we use to count, 0, and the opposites of the numbers we use to count. There's no smallest integer, there's no largest integer. But whenever you're adding or subtracting integers, whenever you're adding and subtracting, if the two integers have the same signs, meaning both positive or both negative, in this case, you will always add and keep the sign. If two integers have opposite signs, you always subtract and keep sign of the one furthest from 0. So the one that's further away from the number 0 is always the one that gives this sign to the difference. So the sign of the difference is always the sign of the further number from 0. For multiplication and division, same sign. You multiply as normal, but the answer is positive. Or you divide as normal. And opposite signs, you divide or multiply as normal, but the answer is negative. So those are the rules, and then we're going to combine those rules with the order of operation, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. What you should remember is as you're going through the order of operation, multiplication and division are actually the third step. You do multiplication and division from left to right, addition and subtraction, that's the fourth step. So there are only 4 steps. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division from left to right, and addition and subtraction from left to right. So with these rules, let's go ahead and try some problems. We're going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and we're also going to combine all those operations using PEMDAS, the order of operation. All right. So let's start off by evaluating this expression. So the expression that I want to evaluate is -3 plus -4 plus 9. Okay, this one. Well, the order of operation is parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. So wherever there are parentheses, I'm going to do all the operations inside of the parentheses first. So a bracket represents a parenthesis. As a matter of fact, parentheses are parentheses, brackets are parentheses, the set braces are parentheses, those things all represent parentheses. Even fraction bars are kind of like parentheses because you have to complete the operations on top and on the bottom separately before you can actually do the division. But right here we have brackets. So I'm going to do the operation inside of the brackets, which is this addition. I'm going to add -3 and -4. Well, these two have the same sign. Notice they're both negative. Same sign. What I just erased off the board says when two things have the same sign and you're adding and subtracting, it's an addition problem. So since these both have the same sign, I'm going to add them together and keep the sign that they both share. So the sum of -3 and -4 is actually -7. And then I still have the plus 9. So I've combined these two to -7 and I still have the plus 9. Now looking at these two integers. These two integers have opposite signs. One is negative, the other one is positive. So this is a subtraction, this is a difference because they have opposite signs. And the sign of the answer is the sign of the number that's further away from 0 on the number line. The number that's further away from 0 on the number line is 9. 9 is further away than -7 is from 0. So the answer is going to be positive, and the difference of 9 and 7 is 2. So the final answer to this one is positive 2. All right, let's try another one. Okay, let's see. Let's try, this is part B, let's try 6 minus 8 plus 6. Well, once again, we're following the order of operation, so we're going to do what's inside of the parentheses. Inside of the parentheses, I have a sum, an addition, and I know it's a sum. I know it's a sum because both of these have the same sign. That parenthesis is separating that negative from the 8. So the sign of the 8 is actually plus. It's a positive 8 and a positive 6. Therefore, I'm going to add them and keep the sign positive. So 8 plus 6 is positive 14. But that doesn't mean that I ignore this sign. Just because I say this number is positive, that has nothing to do with this sign. This sign still has to be brought down. And here's the 6. So all I did was add 8 plus 6. And then I put in everything that was in front of it. And now I have this. Well, these had the same sign, so I added them and kept the sign. Then I brought down the negative and the 6. Now these two, the 6 is positive, the 14 is negative. So This is opposite signs. When two numbers have opposite signs, we subtract them. And we're going to subtract and keep the sign of the one that's further away from 0. The further one from 0 is the negative 14. So the answer is going to be negative. And the difference of 14 and 6 is 8. So the final answer for this one is negative 8. All right, let's try another. Part C. Evaluate this expression. Part C. We have negative 7 multiplied by 8. Alright, well, this is a multiplication problem. Even though there are parentheses, there's nothing inside of any of the parentheses to do. There are no operations inside of the parentheses. So you'd move on to exponents, and I don't see any exponents. So then it would be multiplication and division. This is a multiplication. Well, let's see. If two numbers have opposite signs and I'm multiplying them, whenever they have opposite signs and I multiply, the answer is guaranteed to be negative. So I know the answer is negative just because of the fact that I'm multiplying two numbers with two integers with opposite signs. And then all I have to know is the product of 7 and 8. Well, 7 times 8 is 56. The final answer, 56. All right, let's see. Let's try another. Let's try negative 8 times negative 2 multiplied by 6. Alright, so now inside of the bracket I have a product. I'm multiplying inside of the bracket. So to do that multiplication, I notice that the two integers that I'm multiplying have the same sign. So the answer is going to be positive. It's actually going to be positive 16. And 16, positive 16 times positive 6. The answer is going to be positive. And let's see, 6 is 36, and then that's 96. So the answer for this one is positive 96. All right. Let's try one last problem. Let's go ahead and look at this one. What was that I just did? I just did D, so this is E. Let's try 18 divided by negative 2 multiplied by negative 3. Well, on the inside of the parentheses, I'm doing 18 divided by negative 2. 18 divided by negative 2. A positive divided by negative. Opposite signs, well, that's going to be negative 9. Negative because they have opposite signs, and 9 because 18 divided by 2 is 9. Then it's going to be negative 9 times negative 3. Well, these two have the same sign. Same sign means we have a positive answer, and 9 times 3 is 27. So we're going to have problems where we're going to be looking at the product, sums, differences, and quotients of integers, and also problems where we're going to have to follow the order of operation.